All right, buckle up, because today we are diving into the life of a character who's practically made of contradictions. Viconia Devere.
Viconia Devere, huh?
Yeah, we're talking about a drow.
A drow.
Cleric, but not just any cleric, this one. She walks the surface world.
Oh, okay. Now that's interesting. See, for anyone who's spent even 5 minutes with the Forgotten Realms, you know that's about as likely as, well, I don't know, finding a polar bear in a desert.
Right.
It's just not something you see every day.
Exactly.
Drow are practically infamous for their, shall we say, fondness for darkness.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean that in every sense.
Yeah.
Literally holding themselves up in the Underdark and then figuratively dedicating themselves to Loth, the Spider Queen.
Of course.
Not exactly the type you'd invite to a picnic, are they?
Not unless you're serving, like, venom tea and spider-shaped sandwiches, maybe?
Right. So to have a drow, and a cleric no less, not just surviving but practically thriving under the open sky, well, that's the kind of story we can't resist digging into.
And the best part, we've got some juicy sources to pull from. Excerpts from both the Forgotten Realms wiki and the Baldur's Gate wiki are giving us all the inside scoops on her life, her choices.
And knowing Viconia, probably a few choice words for anyone who crosses her.
Oh, you know there are going to be some cutting remarks in there somewhere. In fact, I think I saw a quote somewhere. It was something like, "There's no roof to this world."
Oh, classic Viconia. You can practically hear the sarcasm dripping off those words.
Totally. But to really get Viconia to understand what makes her tick, we got to go back to where it all began.
Take us there.
Menzo-Baerenzan. Picture, if you will, Drow Central. We're talking a city where betrayal is like a national sport. Spiderwebs are considered high fashion. And if you're not ruthless, well, you're basically spider chow.
It's true. Menzo-Baerenzan is a brutal place, a city ruled by fear, and of course, that ever-present shadow of Loth.
Oh, yeah. Can't forget about Loth.
No, you really can't. Drow society is a strange and terrifying thing, especially for us surface dwellers. And their treatment of women, well, it's complicated.
How?
On the surface, you might think, oh, women hold all the power. And they do, in a way. But always, always under the thumb of Loth, who demands absolute, unquestioning obedience.
And we've heard how Loth likes to show her appreciation. Let's just say it's not exactly with a gift basket.
Not even close. Often, it involves rather intense sacrifices.
Ah.
So the question is, how does someone like Viconia emerge from that pressure cooker of a city?
Yeah, it'd be like trying to grow a sunflower in a cave. Completely against the odds.
And yet, Viconia's story takes this fascinating turn. The sources point to this really pivotal moment in her life early on.
Mm-hmm.
She's a priestess of Loth, right?
Okay.
And she's ordered to carry out a ritual, a sacrifice.
Go on.
An infant.
An infant. That's,
Yeah.
I mean, that's chilling, even for the drow.
Exactly. And despite that upbringing, that brutal, unforgiving environment, Viconia, she refused.
Wow. She just flat out said no to Loth.
She couldn't go through with it.
Yeah.
Couldn't bring herself to do it. And that act of defiance, that tiny flicker of compassion, it set off a chain reaction that she could have never predicted.
Talk about a ripple effect. It's like she poked a hornet's nest with a stick.
Essentially, yeah. Her house, House Devere, they fell out of favor with Loth immediately.
Oh, no.
And when I say out of favor, I mean, imagine the most unforgiving queen in the universe scorned. They tried everything to claw their way back.
Yeah.
Desperate plea. They even made sacrifices, but
But Loth only wanted one thing.
you got it.
Viconia herself.
Exactly. Even Viconia's own mother, she was ready to hand her over just to appease Loth, to get back in her good graces.
That's, I mean, talk about cold-hearted. What kind of devotion or maybe fear makes you sacrifice your own child for power?
It's a terrifying thought. But Viconia had one saving grace. Her brother, Valos.
Oh, Valos. He stepped in to save her, right?
He did. Made the ultimate sacrifice, in fact. But in a city like Menzo-Baerenzan, where even thinking about defying Loth is basically a death sentence, it couldn't have gone well for her.
No, definitely not. So what happened?
Valos was transformed. Turned into a drider.
Oh, no, a drider. That's
A
awful.
horrifying mix of drow and spider. All for the crime of protecting his sister.
Mhm.
Talk about a raw deal.
It doesn't get much worse than that. So now you've got Viconia, stripped of her powers, branded a traitor, and facing, what, certain death or worse if she stays in Menzo-Baerenzan.
Pretty much. She had one option left. Escape.
Breakfast.
The surface world. Can you imagine a lifetime spent in the Underdark and suddenly she's thrust into a world bathed in sunlight?
Yeah.
Talk about culture shock.
Must felt like stepping onto another planet entirely. So that's it, right? She sees the light, both literally and figuratively, and joins the good guys.
You'd think that's how it would go, wouldn't you? But with Viconia Devere, things are never that simple.
Oh, I have a feeling it's about to get interesting.
Oh, it does. Because on the surface, Viconia finds herself a new patron, a new deity to follow. Shar, the goddess of darkness, of loss, of secrets.
Hold on. She trades Loth for Shar. That's not exactly a total 180, is it?
That's putting it mildly.
Ah.
And that's where things get really interesting, because with that choice, we have to ask, what does it really mean to embrace Shar? And what does it tell us about Viconia Devere?
So we've got this drow cleric, right? Fresh out of the Underdark, probably still getting used to the feeling of sunlight. And instead of, I don't know, finding the nearest temple of good-aligned deity, she goes and pledges herself to Shar.
Yeah, you got to wonder what's going on in that head of hers, right? And here's the thing. She doesn't just become some meek follower of Shar, content to, like, meditate in the shadows or whatever. Our sources paint a picture of Viconia's surface life that's less finding enlightenment and more. Well, imagine a drow trying to hail a taxi in a rainstorm. It's just one mishap after another.
Okay, this is I got here. What kind of mishaps are we talking? Give me the good stuff.
All right, well, first off, she gets captured.
Captured by who?
A Kalashite caravan.
Oh, no, those guys. They're not exactly known for their five-star accommodations.
Not exactly. They're traders, right? And a lot of their business goes through the Underdark. So they probably weren't too shocked to see a drow. Though I'm sure Viconia wasn't exactly the friendliest passenger.
I bet. And knowing Viconia, I doubt she just sat there quietly. So how'd she get out of that mess?
Oh, she escaped. That's the Viconia guarantee. But not without some serious excitement. First, she gets chased by, get this, a band of goblins.
Goblins. Really? They're not exactly known for their track-a-hair-gills. What is this, amateur hour in the spine of the world?
You'd think so, right?
Right.
But it gets better. Because then she gets chased by elves.
Elves. Okay, hold on. We've got goblins. We've got elves. I don't know if I've ever seen those two groups working together. Was this some kind of bizarre Underdark peace treaty I haven't heard about?
Your guess is as good as mine. All I know is, according to the sources, Viconia managed to evade them both, which honestly is kind of impressive when you think about it.
That's our girl. Always the survivor. But wait, there's more. Right?
Oh yeah, there's more. So, picture this. Viconia is wandering through the countryside, probably trying to get as far away from any more goblins or elves as possible, and she bumps into this farmer.
A farmer. Okay, that doesn't sound so bad.
It wasn't at first. This poor guy. He meant well, but, well, you try explaining to a surface dweller that the drow lady in front of you doesn't need to be buried alive for her own good.
Wait, seriously? He tried to bury her alive.
That's what the sources say. Seems the poor guy panicked a little, didn't quite know what to do with the drow just showing up on his land.
I mean, can you blame him? It's not every day a drow comes knocking, literally. So how'd Viconia get out of that one?
Oh, she did what any resourceful drow cleric would do. She turned the tables, let's just say that farmer. Didn't need his crops fertilized anymore.
Oh my gosh, okay, that's dark. Even for Viconia.
Yeah.
But also kind of funny in a morbid sort of way. I guess you've got to have a sense of humor when you're constantly on the run from something. Though, I'm starting to see a pattern here. Escaping slavery, outsmarting goblins and elves, a near-death experience with a well-meaning farmer. Maybe Menzo-Baerenzan wasn't the only place where Viconia attracted trouble.
Yeah, she seems to have a knack for it, but you got to give her credit. She's resourceful, pragmatic, and clearly not afraid to do what needs to be done to survive. Not exactly the type you want to pick a fight with.
No, definitely not someone you want to cross. But I guess when you've survived Menzo-Baerenzan, the surface world probably feels like a walk in the park. Relatively speaking, of course.
Relatively speaking, sure. Though, according to the sources, it wasn't all close calls and near-death experiences. Viconia definitely had her fair share of interpersonal conflicts, too.
Oh, I bet. What, was she challenging everyone she met to a duel of witty banter?
Pretty much.
Okay, so hold on. We're going from Viconia the outcast, constantly on the run, to Viconia, the leader, the boss lady. I mean, it's not exactly the kind of career change you see every day, even for a Shar worshiper.
No, not exactly. But when you think about it, Viconia in a position of authority, with the backing of, well, a god of shadows and secrets, it kind of makes sense.
Okay, I see it. Like a very well-dressed, very sarcastic spider finally finding the perfect web to weave.
Exactly. And we're better for a Sharan cleric to climb the ranks than Waterdeep. It practically runs on secrets, whispers in dark alleys, deals struck in candlelit rooms.
The ultimate playground for someone who worships the goddess of shadows, huh? What did she get up to there?
Well, our sources say Viconia became the Mother Superior of a Sharan enclave.
Mother Superior. Okay, so she's not just attending meetings and organizing potlucks. That has Viconia's name written all over it. But what exactly does a Sharan Mother Superior even do?
Think of it this way. Sharan's whole deal, her whole domain, it's all about the things that thrive in darkness. Loss, secrets, the things that undermine the bright and shiny parts of the world.
Okay, I get it. So, what did Viconia start a Sharan knitting circle? Were they making sweaters for the eternally gloomy?
Not exactly. Think a little less arts and crafts, a little more, well, a little more Viconia.
Oh, I get it. We're talking manipulation, intrigue, that kind of thing.
You're getting warmer. See, Shar, she had plans for Viconia, a very specific task, actually.
Okay, I'm hooked. Hit me with it. What was the mission?
Shar wanted Viconia to find and corrupt a young acolyte.
An acolyte, so like an apprentice of the faith. Sounds almost humane for Shar. Almost. Who was this poor soul?
That's where it gets interesting. Her name was Genevieve Hallowleaf, a child of Saloon.
Hold on. A child of Saloon? You mean like infused with the power of the moon? Okay, that's not just any acolyte. And
Right.
to try to corrupt her, that's pretty low, even for Shar. Talk about aiming for the heart of darkness, right? So how did Viconia pull it off? How do you even begin to corrupt someone who's practically a walking, talking ray of moonlight?
Well, it wasn't exactly a walk in the park, that's for sure. But according to the sources, Viconia started by giving the girl a new name, Shadowheart, stripping away her identity bit by bit, replacing it with something darker.
Classic brainwashing tactic. Effective, but brutal. What else? How do you completely break someone's spirit like that?
It wasn't pretty. Our sources talk about manipulation, psychological torture, even using Shadowheart's own captured parents as leverage.
Wow. Okay, even I feel a little bad for Shadowheart. Almost. But it worked, right? Did Viconia turn Shadowheart into a true Sharan?
That's the thing. The sources are kind of vague on that point. We know Shadowheart's connection to Saloon, that inner light, it flickers, but it never goes out completely.
So what, she's got like a split personality. One minute she's all, "Hail Shar, darkness reigns," and the next she's quoting moon poetry and handing out moon-shaped cookies.
It's more complicated than that, more a constant struggle between those two signs. Whether Shadowheart ultimately breaks free, well, that's one of those frustrating loose ends the sources leave dangling, kind of like finding a treasure map with the last few steps ripped off.
Ugh, I hate that. But hey, it wouldn't be a true Viconia story without a little mystery, right? So we've got our drow cleric. She's escaped the Underdark, embraced Shar, maybe even corrupted a child of Saloon. What happens next? Does she retire to some shadowy corner of Waterdeep and start writing her memoirs? Viconia Devere. From Spider Queen to Shadow Queen. I'd read that.
I'm sure it would be a bestseller, though knowing Viconia, it'd be full of so much poison and sarcasm, nobody would know if they were being insulted or complimented.
Probably both, knowing her.
Yeah.
So what happened? What's the final chapter in the Viconia saga?
That, my friend, is the million gold piece question. And sadly, the sources, well, they kind of dropped the ball on this one.
What? No dramatic final showdown? No epic battle with, like, an army of enchanted garden gnomes?
There are rumors, whispers, stories that contradict each other. Some say Viconia played a major role in ending the Ballspawn crisis.
Oh, wow, the Ballspawn crisis. Okay, for those who haven't brushed up on their Forgotten Realms history, we're talking about a threat that could have unraveled reality as we know it. Viconia stopping that. Color me impressed.
Yeah.
What else?
There's even talk of her crossing paths with Drist Duard himself.
No way. Drist? The legendary Drow Ranger? Okay, now that's a team-up I would love to see. Two Drow who basically said screw destiny and carved their own path. Though if we're talking like a bank heist, I'm putting my money on Viconia to plan it.
Oh, absolutely. But sadly, those are really the only clues we have. The details are frustratingly thin, but then again, that seems rather fitting for someone who's practically made a career out of being one step ahead, always lurking in those spaces where the light doesn't quite reach.
It's like she orchestrated her own disappearance. So after it all, after everything she went through, did Viconia find peace? Did she embrace the darkness, or did she carve out her own path, somewhere between the shadows and the light?
That's the beauty of Viconia Devere, isn't it? She doesn't give us easy answers. She challenges everything we think we know about good and evil, about fate and free will. She makes us question, can someone who's walked through so much darkness ever truly find their way back to the light? Or is that just another kind of illusion?
Man, some questions just don't have answers, do they? But hey, that's why we love a good mystery. And on that note, dear listeners, we've come to the end of another Duck Dive. We explored the life, the choices, and yes, even the frustratingly unanswered questions of Viconia Devere, a drow who defied every expectation, who taught us that even in the darkest of hearts, there's always more than meets the eye.
Never a dull moment with Viconia Devere, that's for sure.
Never a dull moment. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and as always, watch out for those shadows. They might hold more than you expect.